Hi everyone, um, welcome. Today I'm just gonna scare you a little bit and then give you a few advice. So today I just want to talk about diabetes. The topic is don't be a victim to diabetes. It's something most people think they're far away from, and other people also think that it might be very close to them. So if you're watching this video, please pay attention. It might scare you a little bit, but it also put you in your place. Okay, and why did I choose to talk about diabetes today? I've seen so many people with diabetes that are suffering, like suffering, you know, and they wish they knew something about it. So I'm going to talk about one type of diabetes, which is like two types. I'm talking about diabetes um, mellitus, type 1 and type 2. So diabetes type 1, so that's what we call diabetes. The other one um, is actually caused by other things that is out of our control. But this diabetes mellitus is either caused by us or our body causes it. Type 1 is the one that our body causes. So it's either autoimmune, which is your body start eating your pancreas that creates insulin, and then it leads to diabetes. With that kind of diabetes, most people have like a lot of complications. It is abrupt, like so it's your body that eats um, your immune system eats your pancreas slowly by slowly. But when it starts abrupt. It starts like one day you are there and then you are in acidosis, which is like you are in coma kind of, and your blood sugar is all the way high and you have fruity breath and all that. For that one, if you have it, you go to the hospital, they have a way of taking care of it. It is out of your reach. So that's not what I'm going to talk about today. The one that I'm going to talk about is diabetes mellitus type 2. And that is what we all call diabetes. So type 2. And why am I so stressing on diabetes type 2? Because this one, we human beings cause it on ourselves. So for some of you who already know, or those of you who don't know, diabetes is a disease of sugar. It's a sugar disease and it causes a whole lot of problems. And with today that we have almost every food that has sugar, I just want to raise an awareness of diabetes mellitus type 2 because it can happen to anyone. You can just put yourself into diabetes. You can just deliver yourself to diabetes and then you become a victim to it. So we want to reverse it because most people did not know and they became victims to diabetes. And now it's like permanent. They have to be on some kind of drug or some kind of therapy for their whole life. So instead of getting to that point where we have to manage it, let's reverse. Let's take few steps back and then fix the problem. So let me tell you a little bit about what happens with diabetes. So since diabetes is a sugar disease, this is what happens in your body. When your pancreas cannot produce enough insulin, and insulin is something in your body, okay, that takes sugar from your blood and puts it in your cells so that your cells can have some kind of energy to operate. So if you don't have enough insulin, the sugar stays in your blood and it makes your blood concentrated. So when your blood is concentrated, now it pulls water into your bloodstream. And the only place it's going to pull water from is places other than your bloodstream. So you pull water from your cells and other organs into your bloodstream. So with this happening, now your cells become dehydrated and starved because there's no energy or glucose for them and there's no water. So now people with diabetes will eventually drink a lot of water because they feel or their body tells them that they are thirsty. So they need water in their system. Um, and then they are starved. So they're always hungry. Those who have diabetes can attest to it. They're always hungry. They always want to eat. So they have a lot of uh, water in their system, and they're always hungry. Their cells are starved, so they feel like they need to drink water all the time. And with this happening, the bloodstream will become like packed and filled with water. So your kidneys will try to get rid of the excess water. So now they're peeing too much. They want to pee all the time because the kidneys is trying to get rid of the excess water. And all of this will be going on at the same time. Imagine you being in that condition where your body is going through all of this at the same time. You're always hungry, you're always thirsty, and you're always peeing. This is what happens. I already did this video on my page, but I was in a rush on that day, so I couldn't go into details how this works. And one thing that you want to know about sugar is that when it becomes too much in your blood and it doesn't go into your cells, it starts eating your vessels. This is the layman's term that I can put it. It starts eating your veins. Okay, it starts destroying your veins and your nerves. So if you hear words like neuropathy, so people who have diabetes, chronic diabetes, they don't usually feel, they don't have feelings on their fingertips and in their extremities, their legs. So that's why they tell them to protect their legs from injuries because they don't feel it. And then because of the abundance of sugar in their bloodstream, they easily get infected. When they have a cut or a little bruise, it becomes a big wound and then it gets infected. It takes a long time or even never heal. These are all the complications with diabetes that people are facing on a day-to-day basis. That is why I come here to talk about this nasty disease. Okay. Um, Josephine, welcome. Well, don't be a victim to diabetes. If you are, please take good care of yourself. And also, another time I'll come and talk about those who already have diabetes and how to take good care of yourself. Okay. So we talked about um, too much sugar in your blood, in your kidneys has to get rid of it, so you pee a lot. Your cells are starved, so you want to eat more or you want to drink more water. And all of this happening, now you also have a lot of damage in your veins. Your veins begin to damage, so you don't have good circulation, you have poor circulation. So something small happens, you don't feel it, you don't get blood flowing through all your vessels in your body, so there's decreased circulation. And it can also decrease circulation to your brain. So most people or some people with diabetes also have problem with thinking, memory. They're always tired, you know. And if all of these are happening at the same time, you will not have peace. So we're trying to reverse it. Let's reverse it. These diseases are caused by sugar. This diabetes mellitus, type 1 and type 2, they're both caused by liver. So some people will live forever on insulin. Some people have to take anti-diabetic drugs. Whichever way that happens for them, we don't want to get there. So let's prevent it. There's one more thing that happens with diabetes. Okay. Um, those who have diabetes are usually overweight or obese. And there are a whole lot of things that goes into getting diabetes. So let's look at the causes of diabetes. What causes diabetes? We already established that it is sugar, a lot of sugar that causes diabetes. A lot of the food that we eat today, the cheap food or even the usual food, has abundance of sugar. If you live in a Western world, or even if you live in Africa, if you live in Caribbeans or Japan, most of the food we eat today is packed with sugar. Why is it so hard for people to stay away from sugar? It's because sugar becomes addictive over time. And those of you who have tried to stay away from sugar for some time, you realize that it is not easy. You have withdrawal. Like I never thought I was taking too much sugar until sometime, like a few weeks ago, decided to cut down all the sugar I was eating. Like anything that has sugar in it, I was cutting down on it. And I realized I kept going back to the fridge for something that I didn't know what it was. I was looking for some kind of sugar, some kind of juice or drink. I was looking for maybe snacks. I kept going to the kitchen. And I knew that I said to myself that I don't want any sugar stuff in my food. So the drinks, the cookies, the candies, um, those of you who are into energy drinks, the monsters and the rest, they pack them with sugar. We also have fats. A lot of fats will make you fat, and it will block your blood vessels. Fat blocks your it blocks your blood vessels, and it makes them packed, so blood cannot go through it well. So most people who have diabetes also suffer from hypertension. They go hand in hand. And you see where I'm going at? Diabetes can lead to a whole lot of diseases. And you can have hypertension with diabetes, and that is one thing that you also don't want in your life. So now that we established what happens, what causes diabetes, now let's look at how to prevent it. I'm not going to spend a long time over here today because I just want to scare you and give you solutions. If you're a normal person who has never had diabetes, lucky you, this is the time for you to go back to not getting close to having diabetes. And what do? First thing is your food. Any food you eat, especially if you live in a Western world, look at the contents of the food. If it has sugar in it, or if you have too much sugar in it, please drop it and go for something else. Usually over here in the States, foods that are less sugary tend to be either more expensive or cheaper. If they say organic, sugar-free, whatever, no, I'm not saying you should go for sugar-free stuff, but don't go for all the sugary stuff, all the drinks. I just realized that even peanut butter, if you don't go for a particular brand, most of them are packed with sugar. Milk, they add sugar to milk. Can you imagine? They add sugar to milk. And if you don't know, you just go get it. Oh, this thing tastes good. It tastes nice. You're just building diabetes slowly by slowly. And one thing about this diabetes that I didn't talk about is that diabetes type 2, it happens very slowly. It catches up slowly. You will never see it until one day you realize, oh, I think I'm getting a little overweight. I think my heart is beating a little faster. Oh, now recently I've been peeing a lot, and you know it's not infection, it's not UTI. You realize you've been peeing a lot. Now you've been hungry, and then you go check. They say you have pre-diabetes or you're pre-diabetic. That's the time you need to. Before you get to pre-diabetic, this is the time for us to start retrograding. Go back, eat well, eat balanced diet, add a lot of grains to your food. If you can, limit red meat. Red meat is a cause of most of the diseases we have today. You can go for lean meat, chicken, turkey, and the rest. You can eat red meat sparingly. So stay away from sugar, like all the sugary stuff. Stay away from red meat. Okay. And next thing is make sure you're not stagnant. Now, if you're a person who works in a very static or stagnant place where you sit all the time, make sure you get yourself moving. Move your body, move your veins. Do some exercise. When you go home, find time to do some exercise. It is very important for you. And then always check. Check yourself. Check if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Go on the internet and look at diabetes. Look at hypertension. Things that everyone suffers from. Go to the internet and look at the most common disease that can affect anyone. Look at it. How to prevent it. Majority of the diseases that we go through today or we have today, most of them can be prevented just with good food and exercise. Exercise daily. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to do a whole hour or 2 hours exercise. 30 minutes, 15 minutes is enough. It depends on the intensity or how organized the exercise is. Okay. Um, and last thing, check your nerves. Okay. Make sure your nerves are not, you're not tingly or anything like that, because that is also a sign of something uh, coming, like diabetes. And overall, make sure you're living a healthy life. Make sure you're having a good life. Okay. Most of the things that people talk about on social media about living a good life and healthy life, exercising, they're actually important. They are true. Exercise can eliminate half of the diseases that you might encounter, but we don't know, or we just don't care. We don't want to do it. Okay. Weight gain. Watch yourself. Watch your weight. I know weight is something that we cannot really talk about when it comes to the females, but please watch your weight. When you realize that you're gaining more weight than usual, like most females know that within a year they gain plus or minus a certain number of pounds. Okay. When you're going overboard, don't get lazy. Start working on it. Okay. I know someone who has lost weight from 200 pounds to 150, lost 50 pounds within 6, 7 months or a whole year. You can take your time and lose weight if you have to. It is very necessary. One thing you don't want is dealing with diseases. It sucks. I've seen people who almost give up because of diseases. I've seen people who go to the hospital every single time, or mind you, insulin injection, and diabetic injections are done almost every day or sometimes twice a day. Some of them take pills, and these pills have complications that they come with. Every drug you take over time has side effects. You don't want to be there. If you have one disease, you don't want to add another one. Okay. And imagine yourself putting a needle in your arm, in your belly, almost every day, or sometimes twice or 5 times a day, depending on the severity. It is heartbreaking. And I didn't talk about the pain. There's pain. Nerve damage equals pain. Sometimes people just have tingling, but there's immense pain that comes with it. Oh, talking about the physical pain and emotional pain. Some people lose limbs because of diabetes. When they get a wound and then it doesn't heal, it it goes on and on to a point where, okay, we have to cut your leg, maybe up to your knee. We have to cut up to the thigh, or we cut your ankle. It happens all the time. Take care of yourself right now. Stay healthy and be safe. My name is Kwame. You can follow me on Walking the Talk, where I dissect a whole lot of information for everyone that we learn every day. If you want to be a leader, follow me over there. If you want to learn how to work out, follow me. If you want to know how life actually works, on this side of our world, or in the Caribbeans, in Africa, well, we're getting there. So follow me, and then let's talk about life and how we can make life a better thing for us to do. Peace.